entire organization. It unlocks new levels of productivity, it provides security, it provides additional business value, all those things that we're going to explore a little bit further. So let's dive into the differences between those two enterprise-grade solutions. All right, so we launched M365 Copilot, and we began to see the benefits of millions of people using it to boost their personal productivity, and we began to see these massive organizational changes of overall business value and productivity. It really does prove that when AI is built into the tools you already use, the whole organization can benefit greatly. And the thing is, not everyone had M365 Copilot, and that's true today. And so that gave us this window to introduce Copilot Chat. And that allows everyone, whether you're on Copilot or Copilot Chat, to begin to see the benefits of AI more broadly. So what's the difference? Copilot Chat is free. It's also secure, and it's web-based AI. And so it's your web-based AI partner for work, and it does so by doing things like drafting, summarizing, and brainstorming, quick tasks that help you get your job done better, more creatively, even smarter and faster. It gives every employee a taste of AI power without necessarily needing a license. But then there's M365 Copilot, and it is the full productivity powerhouse. So if you want to do work in Excel, Word, PowerPoint, Outlook, and Teams, M365 Copilot is embedded right there, and it understands the context within which you're working, and it allows you to leverage your organization's data. So let me give you a quick example. In Copilot Chat, you may say, I've got a meeting coming up. I need to summarize this 20-page report that I haven't had a chance to look through all on my own. What you would do is you would simply upload that report into Copilot Chat and say, summarize the key findings of this report. Maybe you may say, put it in bullets, and then it will do it for you quick and fast and help you prepare for your meeting. But let's talk about the advanced features of M365 Copilot for a second. So as I mentioned, it's embedded in the apps that you work in on a regular basis, and that allows some really cool things to happen. So for example, in Outlook, you could say, draft a reply to this email and include the latest project timeline from our shared folder. And Copilot's going to pull the right file, and it's going to respond in your tone, and it's not going to require any copying and pasting or searching. Or in Excel, you can say something like, analyze last quarter's data and create a chart comparing it to this quarter's sales data. And Copilot's going to know where that data lives, and it's going to build that chart in Excel instantly. And then lastly, one of my favorite examples is in Teams. So during a meeting, you can say, summarize all the decisions we've made in this meeting so far and draft a set of action items. You just saved so much time downloading, condensing, and summarizing the meeting yourself, and everyone can move away from that meeting knowing exactly what's expected of them. So that's the power of M365 Copilot. So if you have M365 Copilot today, you've probably noticed an update to the app. One of the things to note is that chat is the default experience in the Copilot app, but there's also other capabilities that are included, and so I'm going to walk you through those really briefly. First, the one thing to note is that Copilot learns your work style through your chats, your role, and your custom interactions, and so you will begin to see that flow through all of your experiences. Your memory is private, however, so you can control what Copilot remembers, especially for sensitive information. And we're going to pause there on chat. I'm going to walk you through a little bit more of that. We're going to spend a lot of time there later, including some demos. I'm going to move on to the other ones. Search. Search is an AI-powered enterprise-level search. And so it helps you find documents across your organization instantly. It is contextually aware, and so it provides contextually aware answers, and it can leverage all your organization's apps and data to provide that. It connects to first and third-party apps. So if you use ServiceNow, Google Drive, Confluence, Jira, and many more, you can get fast results, and no matter where your data lives, you can access it. Then we have agents. Agents are integrated into the app. That includes agents that are pre-built, that come with M365 Copilot, agents that are in a store where you can discover new ones from your organization and third-party agents, And then we'll talk about building agents as well. And we'll show you some demos on that. That gets really, really fun. Then there's Notebooks. Notebooks is a workplace that is a workspace that's designed for focused project-based work. So you can think of it as a central hub where you can gather everything related to a specific task or an initiative, and then Copilot can analyze that, summarize that, and create content grounded in that context. And so it's great for unlocking collaboration, making sure that everything is consistent, and avoiding duplicative efforts amongst you and your team members. So it's a great space to collaborate and keep everything aligned. And then lastly, Create. Create does 4.0 image generation. And so it allows you to create high quality images, posters, banners, and even videos. And so that's where it gets really exciting. I encourage all of you who got M365 Copilot to go give Create a try. Okay. So as promised, we're going to hop in and spend some more time on Copilot Chat. We're going to start off by talking about all of the components of Copilot Chat. Some of these you've heard me mention a little bit before. We're going to talk about how they all come together here. So just to recap, Copilot is free, and you can deploy it across your entire organization, and it works in a standalone app experience. But if you have M365 Copilot, you also have chat baked into M365 Copilot as well. So out of the box, chat understands everything that's in the web and any data that you point it to. And so by simply just talking to chat, and we'll talk about how you can actually prompt it and speak to it, it can bring together all the info to provide some deep level insights to you. So there's 3 things that are part of the chat experience. First, it's powered by GPT-5. Second, agents are integrated as part of chat. And then third, it's secure and it's controlled in your environment, and it can be managed by your professional IT organization. And we are going to talk a little bit about security shortly. So here's some of the benefits. When you think about what can I get out of chat, how is it going to impact my daily work? Imagine you are stuck on a pitch, or if you're in a project and you're stalled, or if you have a tricky email that you need to write. Copilot is really great for helping you spark new ideas, suggesting fresh approaches, and helping you see sort of around those corners that may be blocking you. So next time you need a creativity boost, try asking Copilot, give me 3 new ways to present this message, or give me a catchy subject line for this email that stands out. Second, chat boosts your productivity. So think about all of the routine tasks that you do on a day-to-day basis. Summarizing documents, drafting emails, summarizing meetings, researching your competitors. Copilot Chat can handle these in seconds. And so it'll free you up for time to focus on some of that strategic work that many of us feel like matters most. And so let's see, an example can be if you have a dense report, you can upload it to Copilot and it'll pull out the key takeaways, and it can even draft a first version of that for your next team update, for instance. All right, so then third, it enables you to focus. And so what do we mean by that? Essentially, we all get bogged down by busy work. I think a lot of us spend a lot of time, more time than we like to admit, doing busy work. And Copilot Chat can help you sort of clear through all of that clutter. It handles the repetitive stuff, and so you can use it to do things like organizing your notes, creating a checklist for your next big deliverable, helping you figure out milestones on your way to finishing up a project or initiative. Chat can help you do all of those things. Okay, so where do you access chat? It's easy to access essentially wherever you're working. So you can access it in Teams, the M365 app, the Edge sidebar, and even on your phone, as many of you have done in today's presentation. And so I think of that as being one of the most important things about chat is essentially work happens everywhere. I have personally had experiences where I've been using chat on my computer and I've had to move to my car and needed to finish preparing for whatever meeting I was working with and used the chat app over voice in my car as I went to the meeting. And I arrived in the meeting with a set of notes that were created for me during our conversation, and I was ready to go. So it really is great to have chat accessible in the places that you might work. Okay, So I wanted to stop and talk about security because a lot of people have questions on this. And so really, one of the things that we always like to note is that early on we made the decision that we would differentiate Copilot as the most secure and trusted AI solution in the market. And so that means with Copilot, Copilot Chat, your data is your data and you are in control of all of it. Copilot honors your existing M365 permissions and policies for data. So that means that not everyone will have access to everyone else's data as governed by your current M365 permissions. Your data is also encrypted at rest and in transit. And you also control your data's location, which is especially important for customers, say, in the EU. And unlike other AI vendors, we do not use your data to train foundational LLM models. So your data is protected against AI security and copyright risks with Microsoft's customer copyright commitment. And lastly, I'll call out to access enterprise work version of your Copilot, it's always important to make sure you're signing in with your work account. And Marcus is actually going to demonstrate this shortly. Okay, so let's make this all real world. Here's a few use cases that you can use for Copilot Chat. Remember at the beginning, I was saying begin to visualize how you can use this. These may be some examples, if you haven't heard any already, that Copilot Chat that can be useful to you. So we talked about summarizing long documents. We talked about drafting creative emails and contents. One of the ways that a lot of people use it is getting answers to tricky questions, helping me explain or learn. Explain this to me as if I'm a 5-year-old, and Copilot can help you do that. Researching industries, markets, and competitors. You can all do that. So again, take this time, picture a task that you do on a regular basis or you do every single week, and begin to think about how Copilot Chat can help you do that easier and faster. All right. So one more plug, if you haven't already or if you joined late, feel free to follow along as we demo. It'll be a great way for you to get your feet wet and really understand Copilot Chat. So you can do that by going to m365copilot.com and accessing on your browser, or you can use this QR code and you can download the mobile app on your phone, and then you'll be all set to follow along. All right, and with that, I'm going to let Marcus rejoin us and demo Copilot Chat.
Thanks, Adria. Awesome. So in this new scenario, so we're still sticking with Copilot Chat, web scope. I'm going to paint the picture here in which I'm going to imagine myself as a global sales lead at a company powering the future of mobility through electric vehicle, charging infrastructure specifically. So I'm not just tracking sales, I'm shaping strategy. In order to do that, I'll need to understand how the EV market is evolving across regions, how charger deployment compares to vehicle adoption, and where opportunities lie. With Copilot, I can move beyond static reports and manual research. I'm going to just ask, it will deliver insights instantly, helping me as a global sales lead with clarity and speed. So what you're seeing here on the screen is Copilot Chat web scope. And one thing that I would like to mention is this symbol here. This really means Microsoft 365 Copilot and Copilot Chat as one of its key components is powered by enterprise-grade security and compliance. And that includes enterprise data protection. What is enterprise data protection? What does that mean to you? Your data is private. We help protect your data with encryption at rest, and in transit, you're protected against AI security and copyright risks, and your data isn't used to train the foundational model. And as of August 7th, 2025, we made GPT-5 available as part of Microsoft 365 Copilot and Copilot Studio globally. Copilot now uses the very latest models from OpenAI, leveraging GPT-5 real-time router for optimal speed and reasoning. And more recently, actually, Microsoft 365 Copilot became a multi-model platform. So we are basically bringing in models capabilities from Anthropic. We want Microsoft 365 Copilot to become a business transformation platform, not just an AI tool. So for this particular demo scenario, I'm going to rely on GPT-5. And since I am a global sales lead, I'm going to start exploring what's the ratio of electric vehicle cars to electric vehicle chargers across the US over the last 2 years. And I'm asking Copilot to show me in a table organized by region. I hit send. So depending on how I ask the question, basically GPT-5 is a family of models. You will basically go through my prompt, my ask, and it will come back either quickly, or you may need to use a deep reasoning agent with a chain of thought process, etc. In this case, it came back with a table 2023, 2024, as I asked. And then it also is basically helping me understand that the key insights, key observations in the Pacific region has the best adoption ratio, and in the Southeast and Midwest, they lag behind, etc. But nationally, the ratio improved slightly from 24:1 in 2023 to 22:1 in 2024. So then it basically asked me a follow-up question. Do you want to visualize this data in a bar chart or heat map, etc.? So that would be probably a likely outcome I would like to pursue, but for the sake of brevity. So now what I would like to understand is I would like to correlate this data that is more broadly for the market as a whole, and how that correlates with my sales data in my organization. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to understand how the quarterly sales trends from my organization may correlate with that EV market data that Copilot just helped me derive. In this case, I'm going even to upload a file here. If you had Microsoft 365 Copilot work or a paid version, that data would be more readily available, but you can also use Copilot Chat Web Scope and upload certain files. In this case, I am basically uploading this file that is about revenue and cost over the last couple of years. And then I'm asking, please provide key insights from these trends. And I hit send. So this is the same conversation. I didn't start a new conversation. So now what Copilot is doing, it's leveraging GPT-5. It is protected by enterprise data protection. And it will help me identify, it will basically help me read this Excel spreadsheet that has lots of numbers in there about revenue, about cost, etc. So in here, so since I have asked Copilot a question about insights on how to basically derive, how to read that table with revenue and cost across sales regions in my organization, what Copilot does is it uses chain of thought, and it's basically breaking down that ask into sub problems, and it invokes one of the models that basically it's a deep reasoning model. It takes a little bit more time, but the answer is more relevant, right? So the quality of the output is much more relevant than before. Okay, and once basically Copilot leveraging GPT-5 reads the EV chargers revenue and cost spreadsheet that I uploaded, it comes back with quarterly revenue line chart by region, covering fiscal year 2023 and 2024 as I asked. And it also enables me to quickly understand the key insights covering the last 8 quarters. The overall sales trajectory of the revenue, like for example, I'm seeing my organization is experiencing strong growth across the 2 years. Total revenue rose from 26,000 to 122,000. The best quarter was Q4 of fiscal year 24. And then I have the totals per region. West 177, East 122,000. And then it also provides some insight in terms of momentum. So basically it's measuring the trend slope per quarter. So East, even though it is the one that has the lowest 2-year sum, it is the one that is growing the fastest. And finally, it provides insights on the latest quarter, like how the revenue breaks down between regions in Q4, etc. And finally, it provides some suggested actions on how I can capitalize on the East region Q4 surge, looking already into fiscal year 2025, and how can I sustain West while lifting slope, so basically accelerating sales growth, etc. What you just saw here is basically Copilot stepping into the role of a business researcher and strategic analyst, right? I am a global sales lead in this case, and Copilot instantly transformed raw data, that spreadsheet, into actionable insights. It's not just generating charts, it's helping you uncover trends, spot opportunities, and make smarter decisions faster. In this case, Copilot continues to be your digital teammate that understands your goals, works with your data, and brings clarity to complexity. Now imagine scaling this across your organization, every team empowered to ask, analyze, and act without waiting on reports or specialized skills. This is the future of work, and it's already here. With that, I pass the ball back to Adria.
All right, thanks, Marcus. So some of the things you probably saw here, you're beginning to really formulate, is that Copilot and chatting with Copilot is pretty simple. So first you type a prompt into the chat box, and if you want Copilot to use a file, you can simply upload it. Then you check your sources. So Copilot is transparent about the sources of its information. And so you can always see where the information it's providing is coming from, and you can click into those sources and validate the answers it gives you. And then you can keep the conversation going. You could ask follow-up questions. You can really go deep in the direction in which you're headed, and Copilot will ride along with you. So we're going to go deeper into one of my favorite portions of this experience. We call it a superpower. It's a great part of the Copilot story, and it's all around prompting. So what is prompting? It's essentially just drafting a clear message or clear instructions for Copilot. So if you want to draft an email or summarize a report or prep for a meeting, you can essentially just type in what you need. So as someone who personally loves to cook, prompting speaks really greatly to me. It's all about putting together some ingredients, being brave, and doing a little bit of experimentation and tweaking it to see where you get the best results. And like cooking with a great recipe, a strong prompt is your key to getting great results from Copilot. So the clearer your prompt, the better Copilot can help. And if you're new to prompting, do not worry, everyone gets better at it with practice. And if you followed along at the beginning with the career coaching exercise, you're probably one step closer to drafting clear prompts. All right, so let's walk through how you draft a really strong prompt. First, you start with a goal. So we're going to start with a goal of creating a recipe for lasagna. So what do you want Copilot to help with? For example, I want a simple lasagna recipe. And then in step 2, you're going to add some context. Are you a beginner cook? Are you cooking for a group? Are you cooking for small children? Does someone have an allergy? The more details you can provide, the better. And so you may say something like, I'm a beginner cook and I'm trying to make Italian cuisine. And then in step 3, you're going to mention any sources or specific information that Copilot needs to know. So you may say, I'm working with this file, or I'm working on this particular project, or this topic, or even my role is this. And that'll allow Copilot to better understand the context with which it's providing you information. So with our lasagna example, you could say something like, I'm trying to make Italian cuisine for my family of 4, and I have 2 children under the age of 6 who will also be enjoying this with us. And then step 4, you're going to set some expectations. So it's basically telling Copilot, how do you want it to return your answer? So you may want a step-by-step list, you may want bullets, you may want a paragraph, however it's easier to read and useful for the task at hand. So for this lasagna recipe, because I'll probably have my phone propped up on my counter as I make it, I'm going to say, write it as a step-by-step list that I can easily scroll through. And then you're going to put it all together. I'm a beginner cook. I'm trying to make Italian cuisine for my family of 4, 2 of which are small children under the age of 6. Can you provide a simple and easy to follow recipe for lasagna and write it as a step-by-step list? And Copilot's going to do the work. Why does that work? Because it now knows your skill level, it knows your goal, it knows how you want the answer formatted. And so the response is going to be one that's going to be most useful to you. Okay, now here's the fun part. Just like the recipe, your first draft is not necessarily going to be your best. And so that's where the idea behind iterate and regenerate comes from. If Copilot doesn't give you the result you want, you can simply revise your prompt and try again. In the example here, you'll see that there's 3 tries that were made to improve Copilot's response each time. So you may start off with something simple and broad. Say, write about renewable energy. But then you could level up and say, my goal is this, my audience is this, and this is my context and what I expect. And then suddenly Copilot is not just giving you content, it's going to give you exactly what you need in order to really drive against your goal. So you're going to notice that Copilot is also going to suggest some relevant prompts as the conversation goes along, and that makes it much easier. Wanted to stop and give you a quick cheat sheet. You can feel free to screenshot this, but we'll also make sure you get it after this presentation. But essentially, Copilot can help you with all sorts of tasks. Making charts, drafting emails, brainstorming ideas, improving your writing. These are just some prompts to help you get started, but feel free to pop in whatever your ask is and see how Copilot responds. And so, because we all need a little help and some creativity sometimes, there's also what we call Copilot Prompt Gallery. And so you'll see on the image on the left here on the slide, underneath your chat box at the bottom, there's a link to the prompt gallery, and that is full of prompts that have been shared. People share them across their organizations and teams. You can upload your own prompts here, and it's a gallery of those things that will help you sort of do prompts related to your job or other interests for you. So it's a great place to start to get some really interesting prompts. You can also go to the prompt gallery website using ak.ms/prompts. Okay, with that, we are going to switch gears and we are going to talk about agents. And then Marcus is going to follow it up with the introduction. This is considered the ultimate Copilot experience. Agents are essentially your personalized, specialized helpers within Copilot, and they can do all sorts of tasks on your behalf. So you can delegate a lot of your routine stuff and free up your time to spend on bigger goals and more strategic tasks. So imagine yourself, whether you're an individual contributor or you're leading a team today, you just got a whole set of agents support you. You've got your own digital crew. You are now an agent boss. So what does that mean? Well, let's start at the beginning. A few months ago, Microsoft actually introduced its vision and strategy for Copilot agents. And it starts with people. It starts with human ingenuity. We focus on this vision of every employee having Copilot as their trusted AI assistant. And then agents are going to augment Copilot by adding skills and knowledge to automating tasks and business processes. So just like everyone today has a smartphone with many apps, we envision a world in which everyone will have a Copilot with many agents. So let's take a look at what does that role mean. Agents are going to be the center of realizing ROI on AI. And so in the future, leaders are going to delegate work to 2 workforces, humans and agentic. In fact, coming out of the Microsoft 2025 Work Trend Index, the annual report, 82% of leaders are confident that they're going to use digital labor to expand their workforce capacity in the next 12 to 18 months. And the vision really around interaction with agents has 3 phases. The first is a human with an assistant. So every employee will have an AI assistant that helps them work better and faster. Then it grows, and everyone will have essentially mini agents, and they will be functioning like digital colleagues. They will join your team, and they will take on specific tasks at human direction. So for instance, if a researcher agent is used, it can create a go-to-market plan, or you can tell your agent to create a project status report weekly and prepare it for you to send to a set of audience every single time. And then in phase 3, Humans are going to set the direction for agents, and then these agents will run entire business processes and they'll check in as needed. So for example, if there's an inbound email to a customer service rep, that agent is going to recognize the customer service issue. And the agent's going to be able to diagnose that issue. It's going to research the customer's purchase history, and it's going to look at any other customer service interactions or other interactions that have occurred. And it can draft a detailed email response that'll best help the customer. And it'll determine which customer service rep it should send that email to allow that customer service rep to take that issue across the line. It'll queue up an email, and then that rep can review that email and send the response. So many of us are in phase 1 and others of us are in phase 2, and eventually we will all move to phase 3. So there's capabilities of the agents that you can build and use today. And there's essentially 3 main capabilities that we talk about. And these range from simple prompt and response to fully autonomous. So the first is retrieval. Retrieval agent capabilities are like rule followers. They stick to the script and they pull info based on your instructions. Then there's task agents. And those are sort of the workflow wizards. They automate repetitive tasks. And then lastly, there's autonomous agents, and those are the big brains. They plan, they adapt, they make decisions, they learn, and they escalate. And so whether you're looking for sort of simple support or a full-on strategy, agents are able to scale with your needs. All right, so the owners of M365 Copilot have access to a powerful set of out-of-the-box agents, like researcher for deep dive, and analyst for insights, and facilitators to help run your meetings. And those are all found within Copilot Chat. You'll find these agents and more also in the agent store. And so there you'll find ready-for-you agents that are made by Microsoft as well as third parties. And then if you want something custom, you can build your own agent using natural language in Copilot Studio. And so no coding is required for this. Or if you are a developer and you want to do pro code, you can use the Microsoft 365 Agent SDK. And that's going to help you create agents that automate more complex workflows and connect to your organization's data. Okay, now Marcus is going to walk you through using out-of-the-box agents and creating custom agents shortly. And remember, there's going to be no coding needed for that experience. Before we do that, I do want to call out, for those of you who are using Copilot Chat, so the free version of Copilot Chat, there's also some agents that have been fused in that experience as well. And so these are pre-built agents, and they can assist you with things like brainstorming, refining your writing, developing a career plan, even learning about certain topics and skills. And so you can even use a prompt coach to help assist you with creating effective prompts. And so those are available out of the box to everyone with Copilot Chat. All right, back to you, Marcus. I'm excited for you to show us a few of these agents and how to build our own.
Thanks, Adria. Now I'm going to basically explore how to leverage the researcher agent for a scenario in which I am the CHRO, right? So let's say my CEO just asked, how do I attract and retain top talent in an AI-driven economy? I'll need to understand emerging workforce trends, craft a strategy that resonates with leadership, all in hours, perhaps days, but definitely not weeks. Traditionally, this would require multiple teams, countless reports, endless research. But with Microsoft 365 Copilot and the researcher agent, which is available for paid Microsoft 365 Copilot users, you can do it in minutes. So in this case, I basically clicked on the left-hand side, the researcher agent, and I will ask a prompt that follows the framework that Adria covered a few minutes ago. In this case, I'm asking, research the top 5 workforce trends for 2025 that impact talent attraction and retention in an AI-driven economy. Use credible sources like Gartner, Deloitte, McKinsey. Summarize key insights, etc. I hit send. Typically, since this is the researcher agent is a best-in-class agent for deep research. So it's going to be descriptive, verbose. It typically comes back with 3 follow-up questions to make sure it fully understands what you're asking. For the sake of this demonstration, I'm gonna skip and go. I'm gonna hit the button, go ahead, right? So now the researcher agent will basically, since it's a deep reasoning agent, it will begin the research. It will decompose the problem into subcomponents. It will basically identify relevant sources. I think I mentioned Gartner, McKinsey, Deloitte, etc. You identify the trends, etc. So if you want to see what its chain of thought, it's basically now describing this for you here. Beginning research, evaluating relevant source, etc. For the sake of brevity, I'm going to switch back to basically a tab in which I have already run this report here, and you see the output. So it has identified the 5 global workforce trends in 2025. And basically it's very easy to understand. It has quantitative data as well. It identified AI and automation transforming work, skills gap, etc. And right at the middle of the report, basically then it comes back with an executive summary on what are the 3 strategies that I should use based on those trends. In this case, let's cultivate a connected and inclusive culture in my organization. Let's invest in growth and skill development, and let's embrace flexibility and support well-being. This is very comprehensive, but as you can see, this is like in just a matter of minutes, so no more than 10 minutes, you have a very comprehensive McKinsey style type of report that you will not need to pay very expensive consulting fees. Very comprehensive report, and I could have continue the conversation here and ask the researcher agent, create now a 1-page executive summary for the CEO that outlines the top trends, competitive insight, and recommended action. Make it concise and persuasive. For the sake of this demonstration here, then I'll just wrap things up on the researcher agent, because in here what you just saw is the researcher agent acted as your strategic research partner, created insights from trusted sources, Gartner, McKinsey, and Deloitte in this case, analyzed competitive practice, etc. So with Copilot, HR leaders can move from questions to decisions in minutes, shaping the future of work with confidence and speed. This isn't just about productivity, it's about transformation. Okay, so now we're gonna build together an agent, right? So, and this is available on the left-hand side underneath all agents. You basically hit create an agent. In here, you have 2 tabs, the describe tab and the configure tab. The describe tab, basically, as Adria mentioned before, you're just using natural language, right? So in this case, I will basically describe in natural language, you are an experienced and knowledgeable Copilot solution engineer. It's still within the theme of career coaching, right? So I'm currently a principal Copilot solution engineer. I need to master my craft. So I'm going to build an agent that will help me answer questions from customers about Microsoft 365 Copilot, about Copilot Studio, etc. It will basically, you can see on the right-hand side, based on that one single instruction, it will put together 6 starting prompts. It provides a suggestion on the name. So in this case, I'm going to agree with the name. I could have basically replied, no, let's go with that. In addition to that, an agent, you point the agent, so you can think of an agent as a laser-focused Copilot. It's a customized Copilot for a particular task, for a particular workflow, for a particular business process. In this case, I will point Copilot to this SharePoint site that has lots of files that I'm constantly coming back to. This website with Microsoft News, and this additional website with Microsoft Customer Stories. And this is how we're going to do it. In this case, I'm going to go to configure, and then I will basically point what's the knowledge source. So I'll copy and paste the address here. and then I'll put the address right here. It just needs the URL for the SharePoint site. So this is now data that is authoritative. And I will add this Microsoft News as well as a knowledge source. So as you can see, it's very easy to build an agent. Use natural language and you give the URLs, the addresses to the authoritative sources, and you can provide some 6 initial prompts. You can accept them or you can edit them. In my case, I'll just test. Before I actually create this agent, I will test, right? So, and one question would be like, what's the difference between Copilot and agent? So a very easy one to make sure that it is working as I expected. And I could also ask, show me 2 recent Microsoft customer stories about Microsoft 365 Copilot or Copilot Studio that I can mention in a client meeting, right? So it's coming back with a response. This is Copilot, this is agents. Copilot say your assistant for work, while agent basically is a customized Copilot for business processes. Once I'm happy with that, I will hit create, and that agent here now becomes available to me. So anytime a customer asks me a question, I'll do that. I will basically come here. I created this agent for myself. So this speeds up onboarding significantly. And what you just saw is really an agent built within Microsoft 365 Copilot, tailored to support solution engineers such as me, and helps me prepare for client meetings, navigate product updates, and agents like this one help you move to questions to clarity, right? So my question to you, my final question to you is, what agent will you build first? And with that, back to Adria.
All right, thanks, Marcus. So we threw a lot at you, but there's so much more to learn around agents. And so if you want to learn more about agents, you can definitely take advantage of any of these sort of step-by-step, self-guided, on-demand trainings. And it'll really unlock agents for you and help you get much more comfortable with how you can customize and build your own. And with that, it always comes faster than we expect, but we're at the next steps. We're now wrapping up. Again, I want to throw out that challenge. Leave this session and jump right into Copilot and get started. Just put your foot out there, and whether it's trying an agent, trying a new prompt, really just jump in and you'll begin to see the changes right away. With that, there's so much more that you can learn to help you on your journey. And so if you want to learn anything, here's a placemat of some of the things that can empower you. And we're going to make these links available for you to be able to copy later on. So no worries there. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We really value feedback. We want to make sure that your future coworkers who take this session get as much value or even more than you did today. And so please do fill out the survey for us. Your feedback is essential and critical to how we develop these programs moving forward. With that, thank you for being here, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much.